This is the Wenning Strength Podcast, brought to you by Wenning Strength and Wenning Strength Media. For printed copies of match training manuals, custom equipment, online coaching and analysis, and information on upcoming seminars, go to wenningstrength.com. For DVDs, digital downloads, and digital copies of all of Matt's manuals, go to wenningstrengthmedia.com.
Hello.
And you don't even got to go. You just hold it. It's yes.
Hold it like
you
this.
Do gotta, actually, if you can,
Just grip it.
yes, the entire time.
Like I'm like a hardcore singer.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yes.
sweet.
Yeah. Once again, coming to you from Ludus Magnus Gym in. Why do I fuck that up every single time I do it the first time? Once again, coming to you from the Ludus Magnus Gym in Columbus, Ohio. This is the Wenning Strength Podcast. Here's Matt Wenning.
What's going on, guys? We got a special guest today that I didn't even know was going to be in the
Hey
gym.
yo.
So tell me how you found out about Ludus Magnus and just walked in one day. Yesterday, actually.
So I put a post out on social media because when you try to search for a gym, and this is like worldwide, you try to search for like those cool like underground gyms, they don't pop up. It's like LA Fitness, so Snap Fitness. So I just usually, anytime I go anywhere, I just put it out to social media because someone lives somewhere here,
Yeah.
and then everyone's here for Columbus. So I got a message from Marissa,
Yeah.
and she told me to come here. So
That's
I
awesome.
did.
That's right. We actually gained
Marissa
assistance.
Inda, what up?
So if you search for a curves on Google, we come up.
Yeah.
So that's how we actually get a lot of business.
So last night
There
we
you go.
had Michael Hearn in here doing his podcast.
Yup.
And I walk out, and she's standing out in the bay.
Hey.
And Isaiah's like, hey, Linn Bailey's out there. And I was like, what? So I walk out, and like, you're standing there. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to talk you into a little small podcast.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? So give us an idea of, we actually went and looked you up
Yeah.
because I didn't know a lot of history on it. I just knew that you'd won
Yeah.
some pretty big physique
I
or
do little
bigger
things here and
shows,
there.
whatever
some
whatever
stuff.
our
I
meathead
did
powerlifters
some
call it.
things. Did some things.
Some
So-
business.
So give us the idea of the top things you've done. I know you've won an Olympia, is correct?
So I've been competing in bodybuilding for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I competed as a figure competitor and never really fit in. I was always like too big or too hard, and I would get dock points for having abs. So like for me, I liked the way that I looked, so I
Yeah.
never like conformed, because they would tell me like, hey, tone it back and do this, do more cardio, less weight, stop lifting so heavy. And I was like, but I don't know, I kind of like the way I look.
And
So,
that's fucking hardcore because most people that are in that
well,
position.
they want to like they think something's going to happen, which I did think things like that was the whole point of me competing, because I wanted to be something in the fitness industry. And when you looked at all those people in the magazines, it was like IFBB, blah, blah, blah. You were always an IFBB pro or WBFF. So I was like, fuck it, that's what I want to do.
Yep.
So I came to the realization that I just never fit in the category. And in my last figure show ever was like 2013 or 12. It was
Yeah.
Nationals 2012. And that's when I heard word of this new category, Physique, which was, they characterized it was basically in between bodybuilding and figure, that's what
Perfect.
I was. I was like, oh my God, they made a division for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of other girls that fell into that like weird gray area that we just
Yeah.
didn't fit in. So I was like, wherever it is, I'm going to do the very first show. And it happened to be Junior USA's in South Carolina or North Carolina, one of those. And I went there and I won it. And I became the
Sweet.
first pro ever in history for the IFBB.
Pretty badass.
Yeah. And then
Perfect timing.
yeah, perfect timing. And I also, once they had the Olympia, I was like, I need to make it to the first Olympia. I had no intentions of winning it. I just wanted to be there for the first one. And I did the Tampa Pro. Like, I actually, when I went pro, I didn't do so well the first year on the circuit. They told me I was too big and too hard again. I was like, oh my God,
For
what
the
is
next class up.
for
Yeah.
my class that I won? I was the standard. And I went into my first show. I thought I should have won it because it was like clear cut night and day.
Yeah.
And they went for like a softer look, and they said I came in a little bit too crazy. And now look at them. I don't even know
you
if
think
I
it
would
was-
be on a
was it-
figure stage
Was
now.
it growing pains for them? Like they were just kind of starting
Well,
to
I
figure
think
it
they
out?
were like, they just didn't want the division to get out of hand. And unfortunately, it's going to get out of hand because the figure girls now are
Jack.
like striated glutes and shit.
It's almost where the
like,
bodybuilders that were too small came down.
Well, yeah. So everything is just growing again. But that first year, I ended up and didn't do good.
Yeah.
And I never really had a coach. I did all my own coaching, all my own diet. I had some help from friends. Jose Raymond helped me for a little bit.
Backing up a little bit, you had your background in soccer.
I did.
So your GPP, your physical conditioning, was pretty fucking jacked.
That's what people don't understand is I was a 6-sport athlete my entire life.
Yeah.
Even when I had to narrow it down in high school, like I would play my scholastic sports for high school, which was field hockey, basketball, and soccer.
Yep.
But I was still on an indoor track team. I was still swimming in the summer because I was a lifeguard. Yep. Like I was always playing something.
Yeah. But I think what's important is the same thing you're telling people to go to your level of physique or figure or whatever you want to be. And our level of powerlifting is you got to be a fucking athlete first.
Everybody, like...
Yeah, you can't just have, you got the look the way you did because your athleticism was badass.
Yeah.
And then you trimmed it down and put the muscle on where you needed to have the show muscle. And then the point is like Ronnie Coleman, an excellent powerlifter before he was a bodybuilder. They
were all athletes. Like
Michael Hearn,
Flex Lewis,
player. Flex
rugby.
Lewis. Yeah, those guys are just...
But all superior athletes. Like Sean Roden, soccer player, and Phil Heath, #1, basketball.
Probably somebody you don't know because he's in powerlifting. Is Ryan Kennelly was a soccer player and had the highest shirted bench forever. You know who that is? Probably not.
See, I'm still new to this powerlifting thing.
Ryan Kennelly was the second man ever to bench 1,000 in a bench press shirt.
Oh Jesus!
But he started off in soccer, which would be completely opposite of what you would think.
Yeah.
But he's like, you know what? I can work out as hard as I fucking want. My body just recovers.
I don't have that.
That's what like. Like my workouts, like, because even for this, like, even training for powerlifting, I do my powerlifting, whatever I'm supposed to do for that day, and it's supposed to be done. Like a little bit of accessory work, but as soon as I get all that, I do an entire bodybuilding workout afterwards, just because that's my other passion.
Yeah, and you can repair
and I'm
from
fine
it
the next day.
That's the thing is, it's not what you can do; it's what you can recover from. And the people that can recover from insane workouts are the ones that make insane gains. But I think what you're hitting on is that you have to have the work capacity first.
Yeah.
Because
and I've been doing that for.
Were you lifting when you were playing soccer?
No.
So what was the transition like for you going from like soccer and or your other sports to moving into like powerlifting and bodybuilding?
So the only reason I got into lifting is after soccer was over, I was still in school, and my now husband Rob, he worked, he was like full-time chef, so I never saw him. So he's like, well, from 2 to 4 I go to the gym. So I started going to the gym with him just to hang out with him.
Right. She was the last generation that coming from strength conditioning. She was the last generation that could have went under a soccer umbrella that never lifted weights to play even in college. Right. So Ball State was actually fairly advanced. We had a strength conditioning program for soccer in 1985. That was pretty pretty
like
early.
No one like lifted weights really. Like I would go to the gym and it was like what I learned in high school gym class, and it was like upper body day, lower body day, and I would go through the motions. Like I wasn't looking to like put on muscle or anything. Like I just wanted to stay in shape and have abs and be able to run for 80 minutes because that's what I had to do.
So what you're saying is you started lifting for love.
I started lifting to hang out with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I was like, okay, so what do we do?
Yeah.
And it happened. He was actually training with we went to the first gym I ever went to was like super bodybuilding gym. Everyone just fucking jacked through the roof.
Yeah.
So many things going on in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But that was the atmosphere I got into. And even then there were no girls there. I was the only girl. And if you were a girl, they were all on the cardio and doing using little pink rubber weights.
Yeah.
Thigh masters? Were there a lot of thigh masters?
Yes.
Well, I think what you don't remember is the touch.
So much.
Like my girlfriend, her sister, their mom, they all know who you are. You have made a huge impact. And I know you can probably see that a little bit with how many Instagram followers you have.
Yeah. Well, I can just based on the people that stand in my line, because it will go from like an 8-year-old little girl to a mom to a dad to like a kid, like a high school kid to grandparent. Like
I think what I think is so awesome is the fact that, we've all done pretty badass shit, but what's really impressive with you is the fact that you have made it okay for girls to think it's badass to be jacked.
Yeah.
And I love that shit because it's so hard for me to tell people when they first come in here that you need more muscle. You need to have that muscle to function. You need to have that muscle to age properly.
Yeah.
And
we were just talking about that with Eddie Cohen.
Yeah.
And
I think the biggest thing that's changed is that what's changed the market, and you're a big part of that, is the fact that what's pushed powerlifting to get more popular and CrossFit to get more popular is the females think it's cool to be strong now.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
fucking awesome, and that's what's changed. I mean, guys like me 30 years ago thought it was cool to be strong.
Yeah.
But only
Girls-
within the last 10 years has it been super cool to be
And-
fucking jacked.
Yeah, even less than that, because I know when I started how much weird flack I would get for how gross I looked and how manly I looked. Now it doesn't really happen because it's like within probably the last 5 years, it's been super accepted, and it's just like, you don't go to the gym, like what the heck's wrong with you?
Right.
Like who doesn't?
So I think you sitting back, with all the accomplishments you've had, that's the biggest thing that when I look at it and go, I was talking to my girlfriend about it last night, and I was like, she's changed the way women think about their bodies for the better, and that is something huge.
I'm like a big, I hate being told things to do. Like, I'm so stubborn. So I think bodybuilding, like, I love it and hate it all at the same time because it's given me like a slightly bad taste because like I'll go to a judge and I've had judges blatantly tell me like, hey, you should really think about getting breast implants. It would help you look masculine, so we have to score. Like I lost a pro show to another girl, and I should have won, but they scaled me back because I was more masculine because I didn't have boobs.
Fucking
So that because boobs
crazy.
make you a girl, supposedly.
Yeah, that is fucking
And I'm
insane.
like, I haven't had them my whole life. It's not because I lifted weights. I've
You didn't lose
I've
them.
never
Yeah.
had them my entire life.
Well, and that's the thing I think that guys in the sport don't understand because we're not judged subjectively. It's you make the fucking lift or you don't.
I mean, you did actually goad me into getting these calf implants.
That's true.
Oh.
That's true. I did get calf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need them.
But no, it's kind of going along with what Matt was saying. I have a couple friends from college and high school that even in just the last few years have gotten into fitness and physique to the point where they're going and doing shows. So there does seem to be a pivot shift where like this is, and where we're maybe finally valuing healthy, like being healthy as being attractive, as being sexy, as being obtainable.
Well, I think
is.
going super obese and being completely out of shape I think it's starting to hit a pendulum point now. I think when the people see you and they see me and they see people that work really hard, I think the general public is ready to start pushing towards that, and they're finally tired of being fat asses.
Yeah, I think so.
Because when I walk in the mall, people look at me like I'm a fucking cartoon character, and girls look at you like, holy fuck. But the point of it is that they want that now. But 30 years ago, they'd have looked at you and go, what the fuck? And looked at me like, what circus
I would get
animal?
so many stares.
Probably not even 30
And I
years,
still
10
do.
years,
Like,
15
people
years.
still, like, they're, like, I can go in somewhere and you can have, like, not to be mean, you can have, like, a 400-pound person walk in and no one blinks an eye, no one looks at them. But I walk in and everyone's like,
Yeah, it's almost like reverse. Like you would think
some
that
people, like, they're looking because they're amazed and like, wow, look at that. But some people, I can look at their face and they're just so disgusted with what I look like. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think even as many looks as you get like that or the feels you get, I think you're really attacking a lot of a bigger population than beyond that most people will only aspire to reach on a positive note. And that's, like I said, is getting women to feel comfortable with being strong, being stubborn, and doing your own way and not saying, hey, I'm going to get fucking breast implants because that's going to win me another show. You stuck to your guns and did what you thought was right.
Well, I'm a huge
deal.
Like, if you can change the things that you can change, like if you can't change, like I don't think anyone should ever be completely satisfied with it. I'm never like completely satisfied.
Yeah,
like I'm always trying to improve, like always. So I don't think there's like a perfect body. Like you're just always chasing this little picture. But like you work on the things you can change with diet and with exercise, and you need to learn how to accept those things that you cannot change.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how much I eat, I'm not going to grow boobs. Like,
and the other big thing is understanding that good gains come with one brick at a time.
Exactly.
Slow and steady, nice and smooth.
Yep.
So it seems here that you used to be a middle school teacher.
I was.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's
so
hardcore.
this was all during that whole competing
So you went to college to be a teacher.
I did.
You got out. You were a teacher.
Yeah, I was a health and phys ed teacher for 5.5 years.
Fucking pretty
and
sweet.
like I remember like having
And this
to
is
call
all
out
in PA, correct?
PA, calling out of the school. Like I would tell my fellow coworkers, I'm like, hey, it's the Arnold's coming up, and I gotta be there working in the booth, so I'm gonna be sick Thursday, Friday, Monday. And they're like, God damn it! It got really really hard, and then that's when YouTube started. We started doing the YouTube thing, and like kids were all about it, and I never did like the sexy fitness. Obviously, I was like baggy sweatpants, like
raw shit.
Yeah, just like what I would normally wear, cut off tee, and it made other teachers like weird for some reason. So like my name got brought up in like school board meetings. I'm like, here you have #1 in the world, Miss Olympia. Well, I don't even know if I guess I wasn't there yet.
But still setting a good example
compared
for
to
your
teachers.
kids.
You were #1 in the world.
Well, but like, still, like I got my pro card as I was teaching.
Yeah.
So here you have like this fitness phenom teaching kids about health and fitness.
And you're being a hater.
And my name's being brought up in board meetings.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you were probably the cool teacher that the kids liked, and that rubs other teachers the wrong way.
Yeah, some of the kids liked me, some of them didn't, but I made them work. There was like this little makeshift gym in the back, and I went in the back and cleaned it all up and organized the equipment, and it was like so like I don't even know how we lifted in there, but like if they were good, Fridays we would go lift weights, and the boys absolutely loved it. The girls they liked it, but I showed them how to like create, like how to make their own diets, and how to devise, like they would figure out a goal for themselves, and then they would have to make a program based on their goal.
Heaven forbid we have that in schools.
My God, like it was the most brilliant thing ever.
It sounds like you need to take over the entire education for the United States.
And they loved it.
Yeah, sure.
And they would act so good just so that they could go hit the weights on Fridays.
That's badass.
And then finally it got to the point, so then we ended up, and I got the other teacher involved, and then I would stay in the gym and we would rotate. So I would take his kids and I would show them how to train and blah, blah, blah. And then he would have my kids, and then they would rotate, and I would always like be the weight room trainer.
That's so fucking cool.
But we ended up in like we didn't really have like a design curriculum, so I was like, cool, I'm gonna make
what you want to make,
so that you can actually use this in the future, like for yourself.
Yeah. I'll bet you don't be surprised if a lot of those people come back and tell you how much they changed their life.
Well, we have a gym. So we used to do warehouse gym camps, and I've had maybe a couple students. And like you pay for these, and they're not cheap. It was like $150 for the weekend, and I would have an all-day seminar. It'd be like 8 hours. We'd do training, we'd do everything, and I'd have old students come. And she's like, and it was always like the one girl, I remember her. She's like, Mrs. Bailey, you probably don't remember me, but I was the one that never wanted to do anything. And I'm like, and here you are. You just paid $150 to come listen to your old gym teacher.
Tell you some shit.
Tell you stuff. And like I still have, because our gym is still, it's like 15, 20 minutes from where I taught at. So like I have a lot of.
So you wouldn't notice it now, but that guy that walked in that had the beard that was first talking to me when you first walked in.
Yeah.
He was on my powerlifting team when I was in grad school, and he was a freshman. He weighed 137 pounds.
Oh God!
At 6'1".
What I weigh?
And I was like, hey motherfucker, you're gonna have to weigh 275 to be strong because you're just too fucking tall.
Yeah.
So at 100, he was 137. So the next year he got up to 160, then 180.
Wow.
Now he's getting his PhD in Maine.
Wow.
But the point is like I saw him develop, and it's amazing to see the touch you have on bleeps of people that you don't even know what happens next. Like that kid would have never went to exercise science. Would have never got a PhD, would have never been changing other people in Maine, all because of you. And I can't imagine having the outreach that you had right off the get-go, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you lay out your training? What do you do?
Well,
how do we look like? How do we get the girls to look like
How do I get to look like you?
Volume. Do you understand? Like on shoulder day, like, because if it's bench day, like I'll train shoulders after that. So Colin does my programming for powerlifting, and he completely knows that, like, he writes down like do this as or like writes accessory, but he knows I do an entire bodybuilder workout. Yeah. Except like the last 2 or 3 weeks I haven't. So I did it
for the meet.
Yeah, for the meet to calm myself down. But it's so much volume, so much. Like I'm
time under tension,
super high volume.
Where
so like one set will be 40 reps.
We're not doing a meet this week. What do we do Monday?
Monday, I'll probably train shoulders because I haven't trained shoulders in a week and a half.
Tuesday.
Back.
Wednesday.
Legs.
Thursday.
Chest.
Friday.
Back to delts.
Saturday.
Back to back.
Then Sunday.
Yeah, so I train everything like twice a week.
You train everything twice a week?
So, like,
no days off?
No, not really.
Not really. Any cardio?
Yeah, I do cardio.
Okay, how many hours a week?
Right now, because I'm a little bit lazy, like 4 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week. But it's like 20 30 minutes.
So you get most of your leanness from diet?
Diet, right now, you'd probably hate me, but I only eat like twice a day right now.
Really?
I went from eating like 7 times a day.
Yeah.
And when I switched off like bodybuilder mode, I wanted to just like clear my head, clear
chill
everything.
Out. Not think about
and
all
just
that
not
shit.
think about like meal timing and prepping and blah, blah,
yeah.
blah.
Stan's got me on his vertical diet. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like what Thor and Shaw and all them are on.
Okay. But I started doing intermittent fasting. So
really?
I fast for...
Now that's going to be rough because I keep telling all these firemen to come up and ask me about intermittent fasting. I tell them to shut the fuck up.
It's so
I
easy.
tell Matt all the time, I intermittent fast.
But like
I don't eat anything from
midnight to 4 a.m.
Yeah, from like 11 o'clock at night till about 6 in the morning. I don't eat anything. So there's a solid.
I do from like 9 p.m. till my first meal is usually 1, and I usually forget to eat, so then it ends up and it's like 3 p.m.
Oh
because
shit!
With intermittent fast, like I'm not eating as many calories.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you have a drop in energy?
No, I have more energy than ever. When I was eating like every 2.5 hours, I had to take naps. Like I feel like I was always like napping.
Just lethargic.
Like, super lethargic.
So you felt lethargic because you felt like you were always in digestion mode.
You're always digesting, and your body wants to rest when it digests. It wants to save all the energy so it can burn everything, process it, and so that you can distribute it and use it. So I was like always tired. I intermittent fast, and I also took most animal proteins out of my diet. So right now I'm pescatarian for the most part.
That's completely reversed.
We should have you and Stan on the same podcast.
Yeah, that'd be super interesting.
What is it? Just super meat eater?
Yeah, all red meat.
Yeah, and
steak.
I love cow. Cow. Yeah, you gotta watch. I'll send him a cow video.
Yeah.
Helpless cow.
Yeah, he's out of control.
It'll probably just make him hungry.
Yeah, it probably would.
That's pretty interesting, though. I mean, that's interesting that intermittent.
My husband's vegan.
Yeah, we read that. We found that out.
He's vegan.
Yeah.
I tried for 2 weeks, but I can't do soy.
Yeah.
It makes me nauseous.
Well, soy is supposed to be scientifically estrogenic.
Yeah, well, for guys, I know guys hate soy.
Yeah, but that's interesting because it's completely reversed of what I've been learning the last 5 or 6 years. So it's cool though that it's a different avenue that's working well.
So easy. But I've made every diet. I've done every single diet, and they've all worked. Your body's so adaptable that whatever you train it to do, it will do it. So I've done keto. I've done like all carbs, very low protein. Like I've done them all, and they've all worked. Yeah. Like for the Olympia, I was eating maybe 3 or 4 ounces of like protein and a cup of carbs with every single meal. Huh. When I got my pro card, I was on super low carbs. That worked too somehow. How do all these diets work?
Some of it train your body, genetics a little bit too. Yeah.
It could also be that you're working out 7 days a week.
And I'm also working out, so that helps. But I think you can train your body to eat whatever way you want. And it's worked when I ate 7 times a day. Now I eat 2, maybe 3 meals a day. Still works. And I'm actually I'm in better shape now. And like I don't focus on diet. I can eat cookies. I just do whatever I want. I still do a little bit of cardio just for my own sanity and like health purposes for what it's actually made for, not just losing weight.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm in the best shape of my life, and I feel great and
Awesome.
huge energy.
So you live in Montana now.
I do.
Whitefish. I've been there on the bike.
It's amazing.
We were talking about that. I was like, that would be an awesome place for a summer home. What's it like there in the winter, though?
We have 4 feet of snow.
Yeah.
Just it is up to my
Almost
shoulders.
Canada.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So
It's
you just-
absolutely
you just stay
right now
inside.
for some reason. Like if you don't like snow, then Montana is not for you. But I still get giddy every time I wake up and
fuck.
it's snowing.
The summers when
Oh
I
my
rode
God.
from across from Idaho and Washington and came across Montana, which was not very far from you
Yeah,
this last year. I mean, going through there in June, it is fucking awesome.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's probably one of the prettiest because you're really close to Yellowstone, and you have that Yellowstone-ish feel right around where you're
Mhm.
at. And it's,
well, yeah, it's the whole Rocky Mountain range. So
Yeah.
we're right with the Rockies, and then it goes all the way down to Yellowstone.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you still own all your stuff in PA though?
We still have our fully functioning warehouse gym in Pennsylvania, and our supplement line is still out there. So we still have like weird ties back and forth.
Yep. So do you fly back to PA pretty consistently?
Usually once a month. So we try to do an event at our gym every single month. So this last month we did a women's in strength event with Jen Thompson and Meg
Yeah.
Squats. So that was like just a really good, one of those really good feel good
Yeah.
moments, just like empowering women to be comfortable with themselves, be
Yeah.
comfortable with being strong and maybe looking a little bit different, but just be happy with who you
Awesome.
are. And then like this month we have Julian Smith coming, who's just like this weird freak of a man. So he'll be coming and doing the seminar. And then the following month we have our veterans outreach workout, which is another super cool event.
Yeah.
And then we donate all the money that day to a
Yeah.
couple charities.
I've done a bit of work here with Wounded Warriors.
Yeah.
So we have them come in and work with them. And yeah, as you see, all the flags that are out in the gym are every branch of military I've worked with or had a contract with,
That's cool.
which was pretty
Yeah.
neat because those guys, you would be surprised. It's fun. And I think you probably, since you're on that topic, it's awesome when you train an athlete and you see him perform better. But it's a whole nother feeling to know that you're giving a soldier or somebody that has a disability a better life or a chance to live. So when I would go train these Ranger Regiment guys or these 4th Infantry guys, I'm like, I remember probably the second year I worked with Ranger Regiment, I had 2 dudes come to me and they're almost tearing up because they're like, dude, if you wouldn't have made us as strong as you made us, I'd be fucking dead right now. It's like I had to
There's
grab
so many,
him
like-
and drag him 100 yards. So he's in all of his gear. He probably weighs close to 300 pounds. And he's like, I didn't even think twice about it. I grabbed that dude and drug him 100 yards, and they were shooting at us the whole time. He's like, I wasn't strong enough to do that a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize, like, what I know is way more important than just getting stronger. It's like, this makes a big difference, you know?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Well, that's all I had for you. I just wanted to get you
That is awesome.
on the podcast.
Anything else you want to talk about? The clothing line? Anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can we find
Oh,
D-Dog?
I mean, literally, you can just Google DLB. You'll be set for days. But yeah, hit up if you need some fresh ass gear.
Yeah.
The cool thing, so when we moved to Montana, one of the other reasons is because we love the outdoors, is we're expanding not just like our clothing line. We're expanding our lives and our clothing line, but
Yeah.
we're doing almost like an adventure line now. So
Sweet.
we've come out with bags. We've come out with like.
So basically,
like
you're trying to
water
take Cabela's
pack.
and Gander Mountain and kick them the fuck out. And
We're
turn
just
it
trying to
DLB.
do everything.
That's fucking
Just
awesome.
everything awesome in life. That's what we're trying to do. So
That's fucking
Flagner
sweet.
Fail, supplements, run everything labs.
Yeah.
If you need a gym in PA, we got the Warehouse Gym.
Yep.
And I'm
And I'm going to
Linn
be sending
Bailey.
you a belt squad over there soon.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So I'm going to get you one of those over there.
We will do that.
All right, cool. Well,
Thank
have
you
fun with
very
you, Arnold.
much.
Good luck.
I
Take
appreciate
it easy,
it.
and I'll see you
I'm
soon.
going to go move my legs around out there.
All right, go warm up.
Thank you once again for joining us here on the Wenning Strength Podcast. Don't forget to check out wenningstrength.com and wenningstrengthmedia.com for all of your training needs. And while you're at it, subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. And if you get a chance, give us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time on the Wenning Strength Podcast.